Every extrovert has a secret, and Carl Jung believed it's the part of them nobody ever sees, because people think extroverts are always happy, always loud, always confident, always social, but the truth is their personality hides a world that almost no one understands, and this is exactly why extroverts are misunderstood. Jung said, extroverts live with their energy turned outward, but their fears, their doubts, their insecurities stay trapped inside, and this creates a hidden psychology that even extroverts themselves often don't notice, and that's why this video will expose the truth about extroverts, the parts they hide, the parts they overcompensate for, the parts that make them magnetic, but also misunderstood, because extroverts aren't just people who talk a lot, they're people who feel a lot. And Jung said, when an extrovert feels deeply, they express loudly, but when they hurt, they hide quietly, and that's the paradox that shapes their entire personality. And once you understand it, you'll see extroverts differently forever now. According to Jung, the first thing people get wrong is thinking extroverts love everyone. The truth is, extroverts have a big circle, but a very tiny core. They connect with many but trust very few, because their friendliness is a personality trait, but their loyalty is earned, not automatic. And the funniest part is people misjudge their openness as weakness, but Jung believed the extrovert's greatest strength is their ability to make others feel seen even when they themselves feel invisible. And this is why they attract people so easily. Extroverts radiate the energy everyone wishes they had: confidence, warmth, expression, presence, and this magnetic aura makes others follow them, listen to them, open up to them, and sometimes depend on them too much, without giving anything back. And here's the twist. Jung said, the extrovert is often the strongest one in the room, but also the least protected, because they give more than they receive, they support more than they are supported, and they understand others better than others understand them. And this imbalance creates the first psychological wound of extroverts. They become the emotional outlet for everyone, but have no outlet for themselves. They become the one who cheers others up, but cries alone. They become the one who breaks in silence, but jokes in public. And this silent suffering creates a hidden exhaustion, the kind no one notices, because extroverts hide their sadness behind humor, hide their stress behind activity, hide their fear behind smiles, hide their loneliness behind crowds. And this is the part of extroverts Jung believed most of the world ignores. The fact that a loud soul can have a tired heart, a social personality can have a lonely core, and a confident presence can hide a confused mind. And this internal conflict becomes louder as they grow older, because extroverts start noticing something strange. They feel drained in places where they used to feel alive. They feel bored with conversations that once entertained them. They feel disconnected from people who once felt close, and they start realizing something powerful. Jung said, extroverts evolve, and when they do, their psychology changes in unexpected ways. They begin valuing depth over crowds, honesty over attention, solitude over noise, real friendship over popularity, and this shift marks the beginning of their psychological awakening. And now we reach the second stage of the extrovert's hidden psychology, the part Jung believed almost nobody notices, because when an extrovert begins to mature, they do something shocking. They start withdrawing, not because they've changed, but because they finally understood what drains them and what feeds them, and this realization is powerful. Jung said extroverts don't actually need people, they need the right people, and this hits them hard. After years of giving their energy to everyone, they finally recognize that not everyone deserves access to them. And so they start filtering their circle, not publicly, but quietly. They stop chasing people who don't value them. They stop entertaining conversations that feel empty. They stop showing up to places where their soul feels tired, and this shift confuses everyone around them. People say, you've become quiet, you've changed, you're not the same anymore, but the truth is the extrovert has simply outgrown environments where they used to shrink inside without noticing, and this is where their personality begins to transform. Their confidence becomes calmer, their humor becomes sharper, their conversations become deeper, their presence becomes selective, and suddenly, the extrovert is no longer the loudest person in the room, they're the most aware. And Jung believed that awareness is the true evolution of extroverts, because the more they understand people, the less impressed they are by attention, and the more they understand themselves, the less they tolerate emotional noise, and this emotional minimalism becomes their new strength. They stop trying to please everyone, they stop explaining themselves to people who don't listen, they stop overgiving to people who don't reciprocate, and this shift creates a new inner peace and calmness. people never expected from them, and ironically, this peace makes them more magnetic than ever before, because when an extrovert respects their energy, they glow differently. Their confidence becomes real, not performed. Their charm becomes effortless, not forced, and their happiness becomes grounded, not borrowed from external excitement. And this is where we discover the second hidden truth Jung talked about. Extroverts carry deeper emotional wounds than people assume, because behind every big personality, there is a story. Behind every loud laugh, there is a scar. Behind every bold move, there is a fear, and behind every social moment, there is a quiet inner struggle. And this struggle often begins in childhood, when extroverts learn that being entertaining, being likable, being social earns them acceptance, attention, and love, and so they build a personality around that. Without realizing, they are slowly becoming responsible for everyone's emotional temperature, and this burden follows them into adulthood, where people expect them to always be available, always be fun, always be energetic, always be okay. And this expectation can be suffocating, because extroverts are human. They feel sadness, they feel loneliness, they feel doubt, and they feel mental exhaustion, but they hide it so well that even their closest friends don't notice. And Jung believed this hiding becomes their biggest trap. The extrovert becomes so good at performing strength that they forget how to ask for help, so good at making others laugh that they forget how to express pain, so good at filling silence that they forget how to sit with their own feelings. And this disconnect creates a surprising result. Extroverts begin craving quiet, not attention. They begin craving safety, not excitement. They begin craving understanding, not praise. They begin craving depth, not noise. And this craving is the turning point of their psyche, the moment they stop living outward and start exploring inward. Jung believed extroverts experience the moment that turns their entire personality into something deeper, stronger, and almost impossible to misunderstand, because when an extrovert finally stops running from their inner world and starts listening to it, they begin to evolve in ways people never expect. First, they develop emotional intuition, not the kind based on reading rooms, but the kind based on reading themselves. They start recognizing their own triggers, their own patterns, their own needs, and for the first time in their life, they stop apologizing for them. Jung said self-awareness turns the extrovert from reactive to reflective. And this is where their true power begins, because a self-aware extrovert is unstoppable. They no longer speak to be heard, they speak to be understood. They no longer socialize to escape loneliness, they socialize to connect deeply. They no longer give to be valued, they give because they choose to, and they no longer fear being alone, because they finally realize that solitude isn't emptiness, it's emotional rest. And this realization changes their relationships too. They stop tolerating people who drain them, they stop forgiving the same mistake repeatedly, they stop giving attention to anyone who hasn't earned it, and they stop staying in places where they are only loved for their energy, but not for their soul, because the healed extrovert wants something deeper: reciprocity, safety, emotional maturity, and genuine connection. And this need rewires their entire identity. Jung believed that when extroverts confront their shadow side, the side that hides behind noise, they evolve faster than anyone, because extroverts are naturally expressive. So once they discover who they truly are, their expression becomes truth, not performance. Their personality becomes grounded, not scattered. Their confidence becomes calm, not loud, and their presence becomes powerful, not overwhelming. And this power makes them stand out in a completely new way. People feel drawn to them, not because they are fun, but because they feel real, not because they are entertaining, but because they are authentic, not because they shine brightly, but because they shine honestly. And here's the final truth Jung hinted at: when an extrovert heals, they no longer chase energy, they attract it. They no longer try to fit into every crowd, they let the right crowd find them. They no longer fill silence with noise, they fill it with meaning. And they no longer fear slowing down, because slowing down reveals their true identity, and that identity is strong, expressive, intuitive, emotionally intelligent, and deeply connected to their purpose. This is the evolution of the extrovert, the transformation from loud to aware, from social to selective, from giving too much to giving wisely, from hiding pain to healing it, from being misunderstood to being unforgettable. Because once an extrovert knows themselves, they can't be manipulated, they can't be drained, they can't be underestimated, and they can't be replaced. Their energy becomes intentional, their relationships become meaningful, and their life becomes aligned with who they truly are. This is what truly happens to extroverts when they stop performing and start awakening, they become the kind of person who lights up the world, not by being loud but by being real.